with the Pixie Plane of Existence, Chapter 16, Waiting Everlong. The sun was sinking quickly as they traipsed through the woods. It would be dark soon, and Kat was second-guessing where she was going. She tried to remember how she found her way to the clearing last time. "Kat, are you sure we're going the right way? I thought Shrinington was that way," asked Jenna. "We're not going to the shrine," she said abruptly. Jenna was confused. "What do you mean? If you want to work some magic, that's the best place to do it." "No, it's not," Kat snapped. Thanks to Winnie, that place had been tainted with negative energy. "I don't want to do any magic there until I can cleanse it. Right now, we don't have the luxury of time, so Dylan and I made something that will work just as well." Kat had lost track of where they all were. It was black as an old sooty cauldron now, and just before she started to panic, she saw it again. The glowing, translucent orb. Instinctively, she started following it, knowing that the others probably didn't see it. "Sparak! Attack!" Dasakata shouted, and the pixies flung their spears down onto the gnomes. "Snovaka Sparak! Again, attack!" They had surrounded the willow. She watched in horror as some of the gnomes climbed onto the shoulders of their brethren, like little acrobats, reaching the branches of the willow. There were so many of them ascending. They'd obviously formed this plan. The sturdily built gnomes would balance their counterparts on their shoulders until they reached the swaying willow branches to scramble up. There were organized lines of them waiting, and black eyes with gnashing teeth. The swarms of gnomes inched their way up as though they were climbing gym class ropes. She could hear them huffing and puffing as they pulled themselves upward. Of course, not all of them made it. Some fell from the objects being hurled at them. Below her, Dasakata saw some pixies that had flown too close to the ground and had been captured. They were brutally beaten, bound, and dragged away. Another commander on the front lines to the left of her branch had his unit fling flaming balls of crumpled newspaper at the gnomes. Pixie-sized cannonballs using their makeshift slingshots were effective weapons. A few of the gnomes crashed to the ground, engulfed in flames, but there were far too many coming too fast. They would have to retreat. The pixies would be face to face with them within a matter of minutes. Dasakata knew that in order to be safe, they would all have to collectively fly from their home. The willow would be lost. How were they going to get everyone out in time? What about the babies that could not yet fly? What about the sick and injured? It dawned on her that it wasn't possible, not without leaving so many to perish. "Gelek, mawinadak asupla. Gelek, we must retreat," she bellowed. "Nim, mawi budit stoyaka nawiash na," he ordered. "No, we will stand our ground." "Hurry! We need to get to the henge and cast a circle," Kat ordered. She fumbled with the darkness for Ruby's grimoire. "Hurry! We need to get to the henge and cast a circle," Kat ordered. She fumbled in the darkness for Ruby's grimoire. When she couldn't find it, she said the flame spell, lighting her finger and holding it above the bag. Okay, come on, where are you? She muttered to herself. The others were preoccupied watching the battle of the woodland creatures. The torches of the gnomes, their battle cries filling the night, spooked all of them. This is the most realistic Halloween ever, Dylan squeaked, his voice cracking with fear. The group waded through the tall grass, wary of the possessed gnomes. As she expected, they had drawn attention to themselves, and she felt the first sting of pain in her calf. Ugh! Ouch! She shrieked as she shook her leg violently. Her friends were also having to rip off the blood-sucking gnomes and toss them as far as they could. It was quite a sight, ripping squirming little people off of their legs as they clawed and bit them, tossing them as far away as possible. Cat, what are we going to do? They just keep swarming and biting. My legs are a mess, yelled Jenna. We're almost there. Don't give up. Once we reach the henge, we can cast a circle and be safe, she replied as she grabbed the gnome off her ankle and hurled it a few feet away, trying to be mindful that she didn't want to hurt them too badly. They were spellbound after all. The group was impressed when they saw the miniature Stonehenge. The rocks only came to their shoulders. They were not able to mimic the enormous stones of the actual site. Kat grabbed a bundle of dried sage from her bag and lit it, touching each stone. Watchers of the north, with your power of growth and renewal, we invoke thee. Watchers of the east, with your power of stillness and power of wind, we invoke thee. Watchers of the south, with your power of flame and warmth, we invoke thee. Watchers of the west, with your powers of river, rain, and ocean, we invoke thee. Witness this rite and guide us. Blessed be, Kat yelled into the swirling wind. The gnomes backed away into the tall grass once again, their black eyes fading into the darkness. Jenna, we need to start a fire and fill our cauldron with water and salt, Kat commanded. I'm on it, she said with a wink. Winnie filled the goblet, now superglued back together, with wine from the canteen. Kat lit candles that encircled the henge with one spark from her finger. Dylan and Jet watched intently at the girls scurrying to get their tools out. They were obviously confused and fascinated. I'm asking all of you to join hands. We will open with a chant to invoke our divine Lord and Lady, and then we'll try to cast a spell to repair the damage that's been done. Jet asked, Lord and Lady? What's that? Are we English now or something? Kat didn't have time to explain a lot, but she did her best. No, that just refers to divine creator. You know how Earth has mirror opposites of everything? Like sun, moon, water, fire, man, woman? Well, the higher power is the two sides of the same coin, masculine and feminine divine, in one being. Dylan looked impressed. That does make a lot of sense. Okay, we need to start. Follow my lead, she instructed. They held hands and Kat guided them to move counterclockwise as they were trying to reverse a previous action. Earth, the element of body, water, the element of our blood, air, the element of our breath, and fire, the element of our soul. Let us cast this circle whole. Lord and Lady, we invoke the divine. Give us your power, this space and time. They chanted and walked faster and faster in a dizzying state. Then, as is often the case with magic, they all instinctively stopped. The earth was very still. No more crickets, no wind, no owl calls. Silence, except for the eerie cries of the war that was waging near the willow. Kat opened Ruby's grimoire to the page with the strange language, the spell written in beautiful cursive. Mina hoče vajnaka vi mjesta deravka luda smejatka plaća krova iše vajnaka. Mina hoče vajnaka vi mjesta derevka luda smeraka plaća krova iše vajnaka. Dazakara! I need you! Kat bellowed to the wind. In the midst of the fierce battle, she heard her summon and looked to her right to see Pelivan, mostly recovered, fighting alongside Gellick, Nasmaiga, and Legica. She hoped that they would be strong enough to hold the willow without her. She knew Cat was trying to undo this terrible magic, so it was more important that she tend to her friend than continue fighting here. She turned to Pelivan. Mina nadakidat. I need to go. It was terrifying, flying over the gnomes. They were jumping in the air, ridiculously trying to catch her. Some of them had climbed onto their comrades' shoulders, swatting furiously. When she found Cat, she was both relieved and impressed. She knew it immediately when she saw it. Stonehenge! It was just like the one from the Great Home, only miniature. The other humans failed to be shocked by her presence. They'd seen too much and were committed to the final throwdown. I need you to read this. Tell me what it means, and then I can try to make a spell that will undo it, Cat instructed. I try to explain to you, Dasakata replied. It say, me want war between woodland creatures, look for differences, create total war. Her eyes grew wide with understanding. This was why the gnomes were attacking them for flying. Under this spell, they'd grown jealous and vengeful of the pixies because of their wings. The gnomes had forgotten that they had many skills that the pixie did not, and so it was, friend became foe over a long-accepted difference. Dasakata, what words do you think will reverse this spell? Cat questioned. Dasakata thought for a moment, wringing her tiny hands. Fluttering about, she tried to come up with a solution. I think this will work. Mino hoće miraka vi mjesto dorevka luda. Prinja plaća krova. Isha miraka. Me wants peace between woodland creatures. Accept differences. Total peace. Cat wrote the spell as best she could into the Book of Shadows, using only the tip of her finger. It appeared as if it had been burned into the page, a faint smell of smoke arising from the parchment. Mina hoće miraka vi mjesto dorevka luda. Prija plaća krova. Isha miraka. Okay, everyone. Repeat after me. Clasping their hands together, the new coven chanted the strange language to the best of their ability. When they were done, Cat drank from the goblet and rang the bell. It took a moment for her to realize that it hadn't worked. The sound of a fierce fight still echoed throughout the clearing. Das! It didn't work. I'm confused. Why didn't it cast? Dasakata sat upon her shoulder. You Vikanka, not me. Me not know, she said, panic-stricken. I've done something wrong. There has to be a way to reverse the spell, Cat said frantically. She looked again through the grimoire. There were no answers, only the anecdotes she'd added. She sank to her knees in defeat, tears streaming down her face. How could she save the pixie? She put her hands up to the sky. Divinity, I invoke thee. Tell me, how may I help the Fae? Lord and Lady, show mercy on us this day. As it gives way to night, let the darkness end and show us the path to light. The only answer was a wild whistling gale. A storm had moved in and engulfed the once clear night. The full moon was hidden, and the crackle of thunder sent shivers down her spine. The pages of the spell book shuffled until it settled on the Samhain ritual. Cat was thunderstruck. Today was Samhain, the day to honor the ancestors and start the ancient New Year. It all became clear to her. They would do the Samhain ritual and invoke the book's owner, Ruby. Perhaps she would have some insight into why this spell was even in existence. Cat, what's going on? Asked Jenna. I think the divine just gave me some inspiration for what I need to do. Our circle isn't complete with just 5 people. It makes sense that we'd need 6 to revoke this powerful spell. Dylan was confused. How are we going to get 6 people? I don't get it. I'm going to do a Samhain ritual Tonight is the night that the dead can walk amongst the living. The veil between the worlds is thin, and it's believed the spirits can cross back over and take human form again. Who better to help us with this than Ruby? In her book, it's her book, so maybe she has some idea how to reverse it. Jenna nodded vehemently. This is going to be wicked awesome. Let's do it. Kat set Ruby's grimoire in the middle of the circle. Okay, so we need to join hands and picture Ruby. Jet smirked. I don't know what she looked like, but I'm going to say a redhead. Winnie was irritated. It doesn't matter what she looks like. We just need to manifest her. Repeat after me, guys, Kat shouted over the gusting wind. Picture her as we say these words. We are a circle with no beginning and no end, taking the shape of eternal energy we now ascend. Owner of this book of shadows, these shall now manifest. For your soul, Ruby Fitzgerald, we now request. Turn from spirit to blood and flesh. There was a heavy clap of thunder, and a powerful bolt of lightning lit up the sky like an electrical current of a genius brainwave. The wind wailed and the rain came pouring down. The candles went out, and the woods were cloaked in black, except for the chest lights of the Pixies several yards away, swerving to and fro, casting shapes and patterns like a laser light show. She came out of the woods and into the clearing, an older woman, maybe her mid-50s. Her raven locks were streaked with gray and pulled back into an intricate braided bun. Spectacles graced her slender nose. She was wearing clothes from the era of the 1930s, a beautiful white blouse, and a long moss-green skirt with lace-up boots that looked exactly like you would expect a witch to be wearing. Kat noticed that her necklace, the one she'd found in the boutique, was warm against her skin. Then she'd spied its replica around the spirit's neck. This had to have been a connection between them. When she spoke, she had a thick Irish accent. are a clever girl and will be a very powerful practitioner of the craft. Use your skills wisely. Cat nodded. She'd seen enough of what magic could do when practiced by the wrong person. Jenna, snarky as ever, chimed in. We get it. We royally screwed up. So help us or don't. Whatever. Ruby was direct but patient. Correcting your mistakes is always an honorable endeavor, my young witches. Let us begin. She positioned herself in the circle between Cat and Jenna. Her hands were ice cold and her skin felt like leather. She was the strangest mixture of solid and vaporous, as if marshmallow gas without the goo or dampness. The grumbling from the sky made them all nervous. We need to work fast, Cat exclaimed. She searched the darkness for Dasakata and realized that she'd gone back to her fight. Her eyes welled up with tears at the thought of her little friend being hurt or losing any more of her kind. Lads and lassies, we need to focus all of our being on the spell. Shout it out to the heavens, Ruby instructed. She added a few verses that would give it more power. Lord and Lady, Sun and Moon, Yin and Yang, two is one and one is two, this night we invoke you. Hear our spell and mote it be by the law of 3 and 3 and 3. The young coven chanted the strange words in unison. As they did so, their entire world shifted. For each of them, it felt as if they were on a carnival ride, swirling with centrifugal force counterclockwise. Cat's stomach began to lurch, but she continued chanting. Mina hoche meraka vi mesto darav kaluda. Prinya placha krova, isha meraka. Mina hoche meraka vi mesto darav kaluda. Prinya placha krova, isha meraka. Mina hoche meraka vi mesto darav kaluda. Prinya placha krova, isha meraka. Dasakata flew low to the ground, a twig in hand, sharpened as a spear. She was about to thrust it at a gnome running towards her when the black went out of his eyes. Arf! A painful scream erupted from him, and a black shadow rose from his throat into the air. It returned to the black clouds that had gathered above. Suddenly, there was a flood of black shadows flying back from whence they came, screeching and swirling about like little tornadoes. The inky eyes of the gnome faded to blue. He blinked and looked around. When he saw Dasakata, he smiled at her, showing his corncob teeth. Priva, Drusyaka. Hello, friend, he said to her, obviously startled and confused, his eyes darting wildly around him. She dropped her weapon, her grulapa, beaming with absolute love and joy. Priva Drusyaka, she said, back to him while folding into an embrace. When she finally let him go, she looked around to see the other chest lights of her friends glowing bright. They dotted the landscape like colorful Christmas lights. The joyful cheers echoed as the gnomes returned to their glorious selves. Thank you for listening.